Test, test, test. This is the Board of County Commissioners' regular meeting on December 2nd, 2025 in Board Chambers, Tavares, Florida.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our December 2nd, 2025 Lake County Board of County Commissioners meeting. We welcome you to our meeting today. We're going to start the meeting with an invocation given by Pastor Bobby Rowe from the FCA of North Lake County, and then we will remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this day, a day we've never seen before. We thank you for allowing us to be in this day. Lord, I pray for our leaders of Lake County that you would continue to give them wisdom and guidance as they make decisions for Lake County. Allow them to touch and agree. Allow them to come together on common ground. Allow them to make the best decisions for our wonderful county. We thank you. We give you glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move right into our agenda update. Jennifer?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. First, we added an exhibit, a 4-H photo exhibit in recognition of the children who provided the photos. We also added an annexation report to be heard later on the agenda. And then finally, tabs 16, 17, and 18 were all added as an addendum to the agenda after it was first published. 16, I am requesting to be moved under the consent agenda. Tab 17 to be moved under the regular agenda. And finally, tab 18 to be moved under other business.
Okay, all right. And then once we do the 4-H photo exhibit recognition, I'm going to move things around a little bit so that we can address the MSTU first, because I have to get on the road because I'm going on a county trip to DC, and I need to leave the meeting at that point, and Commissioner Parks will take over in chairing the meeting. If we have time, we'll also talk about the ordinance on Lake Dora and the ag ordinance, which are just for advertising today. So moving along then to the 4-H photo exhibit recognition. Dallas, if you would come forward and do these presentations for us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for showcasing not only 4-H and FFA members, but showcasing agriculture through their eyes here in our lobby. I hope everyone's been able to enjoy the photos, and we do have some of the youth here today. And one of the things for participating is they're receiving a shirt, which we have, and if the kids could please come up. We've got Carly Mellick, Ella Mellick, Jaxie Strickland, Tanner Marshall, Nathan Stevens, and Ephraim Stevens. And with these projects that kids do, one of the biggest things with 4-H is developing life skills for both 4-H and FFA, are the life skills. And those are accomplished through their projects that they do throughout the year. And this was just a really great way to show all that they're passionate about and learning through their projects.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations to you all, and we welcome you to come back in the future. This is a great program to bring recognition to the hard work that they're doing, the great lessons they're learning.
Thank you.
And thanks to the parents. Appreciate you all being here, too, and all that you do. All right, moving along, then we're going to move over to the public hearing on the MSTU. Tab 12. Melanie?
So this will be an ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Lake County, Florida, establishing a municipal services taxing unit to provide law enforcement services through the Lake County Sheriff's Office for the unincorporated areas of Lake County, Florida, creating a new section 20-1 subsection 29 Lake County Code, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, providing for Department of State, and providing for an effective date. And I will provide you the ordinance number here in a minute, but you can go ahead and have your discussion.
Okay, all right. So this is a public hearing, and I see I've got one card. Cindy Newton?
Morning, Cindy Newton, District 4. I just wanted to point out some of the state bills that are coming through that could impact this. There are several that would be significantly affecting the process and major property tax reductions or eliminations of the MSTUs. So the 3, 4, 5 of these bills are in the State Affairs Committee, and they're meeting today. So I urge y'all to watch the meeting and see what they decide on these. Thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone online? Okay, then let's bring it back to the board for discussion.
Madam Chair, this will be ordinance 2025-54 if you approve it.
54? Okay. To jump right in, I think that when this exercise started, the thought that was that there was going to be significantly more that was attributed to the unincorporated portion of the county only, as opposed to the county as a whole. I think that it's, in my opinion, it's probably not worthy of the extra time, effort, so forth, to go forward with a separate MSDU. But, and it could be that maybe it is prudent at some point in time, but I do think that the issue that was raised by Ms. Newton that we all have been keeping our eyes on with regard to property tax reform could impact this. So it would only make sense, in my mind, to wait and see what happens with this legislative session before we would make any decisions about whether to bifurcate the unincorporated area of the county on the sheriff's budget.
I'd like to make a motion that we do not approve.
Second, I agree with Commissioner.
I do too.
comments. It seems like everybody else does too.
All right, with understanding that we're going to look at it, when does this have to be on the approved for the following year?
So if you deny it today and you bring it back next year, it will not go into effect until November of 27. You have to have it in place by December 31st for the following tax year.
Okay.
And I believe there's a lot of vetting that we have to do beforehand, so. that's
Yeah,
the
so
reason
you're not-
I'm going against this.
You're not saying, just saying that with more vetting it may?
No, I'm saying that we're going to just approve this resolution. If somebody else wants to bring it up, they can bring it up at another time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess I'm saying the same thing too.
Yeah, I think you're saying it just different
yeah,
ways.
yeah.
You're sort of explaining the
I
reasons
wanna-
why you would bring it back up, and you're just indicating right now that you don't
yeah.
think that there's a reason to go forward with it.
Yeah, and the reason why, just so everybody understands, is we're trying to work with the cities, and they feel like, look, there's a disparity in taxes paid. Can you separate out that portion of the sheriff's services into a separate MSTU? So it's a good discussion, it really is, and it's a matter of fairness so it's not a tax increase like it's maybe somebody had thought it was, and I understand the skepticism over it. We should be that way, but that's the intent here, and, maybe the further vetting.
Correct, and I should have said the public probably is not privy to some of the, what am
The
I
history
trying
on
to
it
say?
and the discussion.
Some of the things that have happened in the background to make sure that there's not that big of a discrepancy between the city and the counties. We had a consultant, or somebody, I think Lake 100 had a consultant do
Review.
a review of both of them, and it didn't seem to be that disparaging between the two, which is one of the reasons why I voted to go against this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is a disparity, but so if you're in a city, that's why we were doing this. It's a fairness issue to you, if anything. But I understand need to vet.
I do think, though, that there's an argument that in a countywide public safety system, that you could make the argument that any of those officers who are on patrol in the unincorporated area are also available for any mutual aid or assistance that may be needed within a city. And if you were to have a major incident at one particular time, or multiple incidents, you then have those resources available to you as a city, or as, if it's a large incident. So I think you could actually make the argument that as a countywide public system, you don't necessarily need to bifurcate them.
Yeah, and these are some of the same issues, by the way, we deal with the fire, fire
Right.
issues. It's the same
And
thing.
EMS, it's very similar.
I mean, multiple duplications and things like that. So,
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, that passes 5-0. And then picking up on the, let's do the ag ordinance next,
So
which is for
can we-
advertising.
Can we clarify what just passed, that passed to not approve?
Yes, that was
Okay.
a denial to
Correct.
move forward with an MSTU. All right, so I'm looking for my tab number on the agricultural amendment.
5, right?
Tab 5. This is only to advertise, so there will be another discussion at the time if it moves forward for advertising. One issue that I would like to see added to the ordinance would be a provision that if a property does not have a best management practices plan on file, that they would be subject to a conditional use permit process. Otherwise, they would then be exempt by the statute. The whole intent of the statute was if you're doing best management practices, then you shouldn't need another layer of conditions or regulations at the local level. Well, if you're not doing them, then you do need the CUP. So that would be my request, is that that be added for the final hearing.
And I would like to request that we unstrike the pigeons. Pigeons were struck out of the ordinance, and I'd like the pigeons because we have a lot of people who do homing pigeons.
Is there a reason why they were out?
We just don't have a need to have a separate category for pigeons, but we will leave pigeons in to make Commissioner Smith happy.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have anyone online? No. Okay. All right. So do we have any further discussion, or do you want to move forward with advertising?
Move to advertise.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Any opposed? That passes 5-0, and that is to move forward with advertising.
And just for the record, it's going to require 2 public hearings on this one. The first one will be December 16th, and the final will be January 6th.
Okay. All right. And
Can I
then,
just ask one legal question? Why is that one 2 versus the normal?
Because when you change the list of permitted, conditional, or prohibited uses, you have to have 2 public hearings.
all right, the next item is tab 15. This is, again, approval to advertise an ordinance creating Section 5-5 Lake County Code to be entitled Lake Dora Sandbar. And again, this is just for approval to advertise, and I do have 3 speaker cards. So if I could have those speakers, if they wish to speak. I've got, let's see, Marilena, sorry, and then Bob Ackerblum, and then Arlen Kohlberg. So it's 3-minute speaking time if you want to come to the podium, and we just ask that when the buzzer goes off, that you wrap up your comments.
I'm Marilena Ackerblum, and I live right where they have pinpointed the Lake Dora Sandbar. I'm a terrible public speaker, but I am a mother and I am a grandmother, and I love children. But that love of mine is getting taxed from the screaming children that come to the Lake Dora Sandbar. If there is a way that you could have boats not anchor in front and anchor further, like 500 feet away, it would be wonderful. The dogs and the kids are incessant, and they scream with joy, but it can get on your nerves. And it has affected the eagles, all the wildlife that comes to Mount Dora, to Lake Dora, to Deer Island. So whatever you can do to make sure they don't anchor, and that would be difficult, I know, but it has to happen, please. We've lived with this since COVID, 5-6 years, and it's that whole side. It's eroded the beach. It's hard to live with. Thank you. May I give the rest of my time to my husband?
We don't actually transfer time, but
Well, thank you. You're very brave for doing this, and we couldn't be more grateful. And you're welcome to come to our house if you need to experience firsthand what this is. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
all right. And Bob?
First of all, we're very grateful for the compassion and courage that you've displayed in attempting to control this problem. It's not just a problem for us in the House, it's a problem for Lake County, really. It's destroying the nature of Lake County. We moved here for peace and quiet and nature, and that's what Lake County offers. But this is like a disease that's spreading rapidly. The Lake Dora Sandbar now has 6,000 members, and most of them are not in Lake County. I had a man from Clearwater come over. I caught him with his dog on my property. Asked him where he was from. He said, Clearwater. I heard about the calm water in Clearwater. So it's a really significant problem. Before I make the suggestion, by the way, thank you so much for your plan of having a defined barrier. I can't believe it, 1,000 feet. I was hoping and praying for 500 feet, but on the water, even 1,000 feet's not. But anyway, before I make I have a book on regulation of water. It says regulation is necessary to protect the public health and safety and welfare. That's the local government may invoke their police power. As the state also designates this power to local governments may also have concurrent regulatory authority over waters within their jurisdiction. The public trust doctrine imposes the state a special duty to protect trust resources, submerged lands and water, et cetera. Any conflict of interest arising from these submerged lands should be and can best be solved by local government. So before I suggested this, I read this to see if you can actually do that. We've been looking at this for 5 years, and to monitor and regulate sound it's impossible to do. You have to have a camera, you have to have a decibel meter, you have to film it, you have to record it, you have to have the thing determine it's accurate, and to take that to court for a vote is impossible. The police show up, the guy turns the radio down, so he turns it back up. So you can't regulate sound. I wish that you could, but again, the sound of screaming children. This weekend, there was one boat with 4 children, and they destroyed the entire day for us. Our neighbors we have a tall house just behind us. Our neighbors were complaining, said, my God, we walked over to see what was going on with one boat, 4 kids. So the sound is, you can't, I have stuff here. I don't want to play it, but whatever. I'm going to give it to you. The sound of the children is the biggest problem. And then I love women and respect them to the end of the world, but that women drink, and by the end of the day, you can hear them above the children. They haven't so much so fun. So we have 100 boats with 500 people behind our house regularly. That's insane. It's growing and growing and growing. In the morning, I look across, I see a boat coming and drive right to our living room window and park right in front of it. This is my party today. I control it. People come at night with generators so they can get that spot. They like to have the crowd around them. It's really, but I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Arlen?
Hi, I'm Arlen Kohlberg. I'm one of the neighbors in this neighborhood. I live in one of the 5 houses closest to this situation, and it has been a horrendous problem for the last 5 years. To give you an example, well, when they talk about the noise of children, that's one thing, but the volume of music that they play is just unacceptable. And I like music, but they oftentimes play music with just terrible, vulgar language in it, and it's just. I've been outside talking to friends in my backyard, and we just literally have to get up and go back inside. Of the 5 houses that are closest to this situation, all of us have had to devise some way to get away from that area during the summertime. Some of us leave for the summer. Some people have purchased property somewhere else so that they can get away at least just for the weekend, just to maintain their sanity. And I really do appreciate you trying to solve this problem, because it does need to be solved. and the sooner the better, because the mental state of our neighborhood has to be protected. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody online? Okay, all right. Anybody else in the audience that intended to file a card? Did you file a card? But you'd have to come to the, you'd have to come forward.
Okay, I can.
Okay, and then we'll have you fill a card out.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the commission. My name is Alvin Montanez. I'm a new resident at Deer Island. Purchased a home about a year ago. Wish that I had done due diligence, never considered doing due diligence on the lake itself and what happens on the lake just outside my backyard. If I had, you can Google photos of what happens every weekend behind our house. And I can tell you, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for me to see that the land value of my investment is probably going to be declining, because I do feel like in selling the home and buying the home, I probably should have been awarded, the information of what's happening. That's something that should have been declared. In any case, I feel like at this point, it's disappointing, because the weekend is a time to enjoy your time in the backyard and time to enjoy the beautiful lakes of Lake County, which is what I really was looking forward to. The weekends are not where I can spend time in the backyard, because it's everybody else's time that's out there playing the music that's often drowning out the entertainment that I'm trying to have. I have to take my guests into my home because they're subjected to whatever's happening out there. So, anything that can do to provide relief to, residents of Deer Island and your county is certainly appreciated. I'm thankful that you guys are even addressing this because certainly it does need to be addressed. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And I do need to have you fill out a card. They have them over there. Okay, all right, bringing it back to the board. Melanie, could you just give us just a very brief overview of what's in the ordinance now, or what's being proposed to advertise?
So this ordinance is based on a plainly audible standard. If any amplified sound coming from radios, television sets, whatever else they're doing out there, is heard 25 feet. Actually, this one does not have 25 feet. We have two going at the same time. If it can be heard by law enforcement, and law enforcement has a variety of factors in here, such as time of day, type of noise, those types of things, then law enforcement will basically give them a warning to stop. And if they do not stop, then law enforcement would have the ability to make an arrest. Again, this is not a decibel ordinance. It is a plainly audible ordinance, and it does give some discretion to law enforcement based on the factors listed herein.
And then as far as that distance, that 1,000,
Yes, it's 1,000 foot based on the shoreline. There is a legal description in the ordinance. There's a sketch attached to show, and then there would be signage put out along various points so that people would know when they're entering that area that it is considered a quiet zone.
okay. And it would be in the reference to the noise that is amplified as opposed to human voices and.
That's correct. It's amplified sound only. It's not going to deal with, children playing or any of those types of just typical, communications that people have. It's only amplified sound.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So back to the board. Discussion, do you want to move forward with advertising? Do you have issues you want to talk about now before we get to?
Fine, advertising, I definitely want to discuss. Let me just say a few things about this, which is, these are just thoughts, not positions really, but, I definitely think we need to modify this to get it right and really try to balance here, which is obvious, but I mean, this specifically is something that I think there's a way you can draft this to get rid of the bad actors who are playing the volume at an extremely aggressive level versus just trying to shut down and displace what's going on, because what I did hear from some of the neighbors is that they're just as annoyed by some of the human voices as they are the music. And of course, our ordinance doesn't touch that. I just don't want to see an ordinance that could be used to just displace people. And let me tell you why, which is that I mean, I go out there, obviously. I mean, sure, some of you have been out there. And it's a great spot. I don't know how, I grew up here. I've been here 36 of my 37 years, but I don't remember going there a lot back in the day. So I guess it's become far more popular now than it's ever been. The due diligence factor is something that's very interesting to me because, I mean, I just feel like it's been popular for a while. Anybody who's buying there should have known, like, this is the spot. It's not just this, I think it's like the best spot. I mean, it's a great spot. It's cool. I think it's an iconic part of Lake County. I do not want to displace people. What I do want to see is a noise ordinance that gets rid of aggressive, harassing levels of sound being amplified. So we just need to really finesse it. I think the plainly audible standard, which of course is now legal and constitutional, I think that's, in my opinion, it's just a little too aggressive. Obviously, I do trust our sheriff's department to use discretion and to be fair in how they implement it, but I'd like to see it written in a way where you're really just getting rid of the people who are playing aggressively menacing levels of music to destroy the quality of life. And people do that. I mean, it's crazy to see, but people do that, and it's terrible. But I don't want to see the people be displaced, which might come to their consternation. They obviously don't want the people there. I don't blame them for that to a certain degree, but honestly, it is a cool, iconic part of the county. I do want to see people accumulate there. I just want to see them do it in a way that's reasonable. So those are all thoughts. I just hope that we can maybe, and I'll talk to the attorney, but maybe we can come up with some amendments or some language where, again, the bad actors are targeted, but really we're not trying to displace them. And then, of course, the other obvious reason for that is they're just going to go somewhere else. They're going to go somewhere else. This is a safe place for people to accumulate to a certain degree, and I think it's a good spot. And again, I know it comes at the expense of some homeowners, but I think it's a good thing for the county. I think it's great. I think it's an awesome natural feature of the lakes, of the chain that I'd like to see highlighted, and I've never seen any bad, I mean, the noise thing is an issue, but other than that, I've never seen bad acts out there. I've never seen anybody going crazy or doing something nuts out there. Yet, I know, okay, well, then we'll talk about that, because again, I think there's ways to incorporate tools in this ordinance to stop bad acts and to raise awareness, but also to allow it to be a peaceful gathering place. Those are my thoughts on advertising it.
Any other comments?
My concern is the navigable waterways. I don't want to get into our state or federal laws that we're keeping people away from using something when they can navigate on the lakes. So I don't have a problem with the hearing, the noise level. They did it over Homosassa, as I said. It worked out well there. Everything's toned down, but it does take active police presence to have it work. I will tell you that. So once they're gone, music goes up. When they come back, music goes down. So just understand that Peyton's going to have a lot of people out there.
Well, I've been to several of their houses during the peak time, and I've also been on the lake during the peak time, and I understand the noise level, and I understand your concern about the navigation. I think that the noise level is the main concern. Typically, the type of music that's being played out there, especially if you have kids that live along the lake. I have left a couple times because it started getting a little too rowdy for when my son was of the age of 5 or 6. So I understand their plight. I have seen when I was over there some of the boaters getting on their private property, walking along the shoreline. That's an issue that we can't deal with, I mean, because they're going to do what they're going to do. But I think this is okay to advertise and tweak as we keep moving along.
So, Madam Chairman, just to throw out the suggestion, as I mentioned earlier, we've been working simultaneously on this ordinance along with the same type of ordinance for Silver Glen. Silver Glen Springs, we recently, in conjunction with Marion County, we added a 25-foot here within 25 feet of the sound. What I can do before we advertise this is go in and make this match what we're doing for Silver Glen, so that at least if we have 2 ordinances with quiet zones, they're worded the same way, they have the same requirements. So if the board is okay with that, then I can add that 25-foot in there. That's pretty much the significant difference between the two, other than some formatting and rephrasing of types of things, but I can make that similar to Silver Glen. Silver Glen will be coming forward to you in the near future.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Silver Glen ordinance would be along with Volusia, Marion County, correct?
With Marion
With
County.
Marion. Marion
Yes.
County.
Marion County has already adopted theirs, so we have mirrored theirs since they've adopted it. I think it's coming to you, it might be on December 16th for approval to advertise, but I will go in and make this mirror Silver Glen as well. And again, it'll have that 25-foot barrier where you have to be able to hear it at least 25 feet away. Maybe that will address some of Commissioner Sabatini's concerns.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the idea is to cut down on the raunchy behavior and to mitigate the noise from the standpoint of what's amplified, people having a good time. We're not going to be able to do anything about that. That's arguably should be a good thing, but when you know, a lot of competing interests here, so that's tough. But I think that the one key, I think, to remember too is that we have to start somewhere because we got a problem. We know we have a problem. So we've got to begin this process. And if we find out in implementing it that there's a better way, then we come back and we can tweak it. But it is new territory, but it's just gotten completely out of control.
And I would suspect if you implement this version, once the sheriff goes out there, he will probably come back to us and ask us to tweak it based on his experience of what's going on out there. One other thing to point out in response to Commissioner Morris, we are not regulating navigation. Under Section 327.60 of the Florida statutes, there are specific things that we cannot regulate. I know some of the residents brought up anchoring. There are requirements in state law that we would have to go back and look at if the board was interested in looking at that in the future. That's not something that I would propose at this time. Again, there's state regulations on where you can anchor and those types of things we would have to look at before we would bring back any other regulation on that. So for now, if we just limit it to the noise, we can see how that's going to resolve the issue, if it resolves the issue, and we can get that input from the sheriff's office and we can tweak it as we need to.
And if I could just make a suggestion, again, it's a thought, I'm not committing any position on this, but if we can, from a legal perspective, and then, sort of as a policy perspective, analyze 25 versus 50 versus 75. Again, I'm not committing to 100 foot or whatever, but just look at the different distances. I understand 25 is like constitutional, it's legal, it's been held up, we can do that, but it just seems a bit aggressive. Maybe just look to see what policy proposals other cities around the state have done and how they're implemented, and then look at how that would affect behavior, because I do think if it was like, again, just a thought, I don't have a final position on this yet, but if it's 50 foot, clearly you're getting rid of somebody who's amplifying sound to a completely unreasonable degree, maybe 50 or 75. But 25, let's be real, 25 feet? I mean, that's a cell phone over there in the back of the room, right? I mean, is that really what we want? That's a level of aggressive policing that I think is a bit much. But so just maybe if we could incorporate into sort of our notes here or options for what is in front of us 2 weeks from now, different distances and how those would be applied to that area and what other cities have done and counties. Thanks.
Commissioner Parks?
No, I think Melanie answered a lot of my questions about the navigability and her proposals, and this is going to match what's already being done, correct?
Correct. I'm going to modify it so that it mirrors the proposal coming forward to you for Silver Glen Springs, which has already been adopted by Marion County. And I'll also talk with the sheriff's office regarding the distance and see what they suggest, if they would like to go further out first and then narrow it down.
I think the one thing to remember, though, if it was a concert and you had one song playing.
Exactly.
It'd be a little different. What you have is you have competing. Yes. And then it gets to be a competition just to try to maybe get somebody else to leave because you want to have the loudest music. So that's where I feel the amplification comes in, and it's a very different scenario than somebody playing some music in their backyard for a party. It's like all of this competing sound at the same time. You add all of that together, now you're getting 25 feet. Is it that guy's music or that person's music, or is it that person's music? So I think if you get too far, anyway, that just kind of giving something to think about.
In response, it's a good thought, and then just in response to that, maybe we can look at specific decibels, because here's what I don't want. I don't want to get out there and it's loud, but then the sheriff's department can't identify who's the worst actor. It's all sort of accumulated thing. If we came up with maybe a decibel level, like the allowable decibel level, they can just be like, okay, what's your decibel level? It's this. Okay, well, then you're fine. Again, it's just a thought. I mean, let's look at what some other cities or counties have done on this, because I think decibel level could be another way of approaching it, where somebody can have some music that if you're outside the boat, 10, 15 feet, everyone's enjoying the same music. I'm talking 10, 15 feet, not 20 feet away, 30 feet away, or on the other side of the sandbar, and you're hearing the same song. I mean, that's what we want to avoid. So I just think that those should be incorporated, because I think it's too aggressive to just do the 25-foot.
So I'm really sorry that I'm going to have to leave, but can we go ahead and get a motion to advertise?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll move forward with advertising, and then we'll have a full hearing on December 16th on this issue. And Commissioner Parks
All
will
right, thank you.
chair the meeting, and then you've got public comment that,
And we got the
We'll go
minutes
back
that we
to-
haven't done yet.
yeah, you got to go
Yeah.
all the way back to the beginning. So,
But, good luck in
thank you.
Washington.
all right.
Very big for Lake County.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll be successful.
Yes.
Be careful there.
Yes.
Washington, after
Drain
all.
the swamp.
You never know. All right, so we'll move on. Safe travels again. So we'll move on. We're now at minutes approval. So I will call on Christy Mullane from Clerk of Courts.
Thank you. We request approval of the minutes from October 28th.
Move approval. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. All right, so now we will go to citizen question and comment period. Again, I have some cards. This is for items that are not on the agenda, just general comments that you'd like to make. There will be an opportunity for other items, to comment on other items on the agenda coming up. So you'll just come forward when I call your name. You have 3 minutes. We'll have a timer here. A lot can be said in 3 minutes. When the alarm goes off, we just kind of wrap it up, and we'll move on to the next speaker. So make sure I got this correct. Okay. So Kimberly Gilliard, please. Good morning.
I would like to bring up a safety concern, not only a noise concern, but also a safety concern. I have spent 55 of my 55 years in Lake County. My children are fifth generation Lake Countyan and ninth generation Floridian. We are overpopulated. We do not have the infrastructure. Everybody keeps building. I'm trying to protect my home and my sanity, because unlike these people on Lake Dorr that can't get some quiet during the day on the weekend, I get no quiet ever. I live at the corner of Dead River Road and 19, State Road 19, just around the corner. And there is a barrier over the Dead River Bridge, concrete and metal, then it ends. There is no way for us as a community to build a barrier wall there for sound or safety, because we would be covering up buried electricity lines, so forth. The county needs to, at the very least, or the city, I've called FDOT, don't know where else to turn, that's why I'm here, needs to at least put up a guardrail directly across the street from my home and from the Dunkin' Donuts. Their parking lot is protected. Why is the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot more important than my home? Literally, I am 20 feet from the road. If somebody misses a turn, they're in my living room. Also, the Tavares Police Department, on a regular basis, pull people over in that turn lane. What if a violent criminal with a gun jumps out of the car to elude the police? I have nothing protecting me, not a thing. And there's more than one home there in that area between where the Dead River Bridge barrier ends to the intersection at Dead River and State Road 19. So if somebody can put that on an agenda or tell me who I need to get a hold of in order to make sure that I, as a Lake County resident, at least get some protection, if not noise control. I should have done my due diligence. I knew it was going to be a little bit noisy, but I had no idea I wouldn't be able to sleep every night of my life. I can't even sleep all night. I'd love to just have noise on the weekends. Go around the corner when you leave here and sit at that intersection and see what you hear. So somebody do something for me. And my neighbors, they're elderly. I'm 55. I'm the youngest person in that retirement community. Everybody else is older. We got people in their 80s and 90s. They don't need that. And I don't need it either. So I need some help. That's what you guys are here for. So I'll give you all my information at the end of this session, and we can go from there.
Ms. Gilliard, thank you, and I understand the concern over that. I can imagine it's pretty bad sometimes. So we have a staff that will certainly try their best. We don't know what we can promise, but, and if possible, I'd like to try to maybe connect you with a staff member right now. Maybe they could meet you outside. It's just to get some basic information and follow up on that. So Jennifer, I don't know if Jeff or somebody.
Jeff Earhart can meet with her out in the rotunda if you want to step out into the rotunda.
We'll see what we
Somebody
can
will
do.
meet you out there.
Yeah, see if there's anything we can do, sure. Okay, Joe from Ozzie. Joe?
Joe Famasi, 2693 Jumpin' Jack Way. I've come in here to talk to you today about my tax bill, $10,598. Why is that? Because of Richard Levy and his economic policies that he's developed for the Wellness Way area. Richard Levy works both sides of the aisle, developers and works for the county and the city. He created economic policies of the MSTU and the CDD as a way to help developers and not residents that buy in these areas. Just as an example, he tried to put forward the MSTU as a way to help pay for things. He's charging extra taxes to us. He created the CDD as a method to help developers pay the upfront costs that he said that they need to do first. So he's putting the cost on the residents again. I just don't know where it ends. I think you're throwing good money after bad, continuing to contract with this gentleman. All he has done is added more density, more housing, and no economic job centers. Where are they? That's all we hear about is more houses, more roofs. You said yourself, oh, well, if you want more roofs, that's what we can do. Well, that's all you're doing down there in Wellness Way. November 1st, 2023, he showed up at the meeting for the Heavenly Del Webb project on Schofield Road. He wasn't on there as representing the county. So was he representing Pulte? Because he justified so that they could build their houses. Oh, don't worry about the retail space. That's still jobs. But the job centers are coming. That's all I hear is they're coming. Where are they at? You've moved the job centers to 2 locations, up to the 516 and Olympus. Olympus has more rooftops. I don't see any commercial coming. So please explain to me, why is it we're paying higher taxes, no commercial? Is the MSTU paying Lennar as well to help water the MSTU project that you're squeezing us for? The CDD is run by Lennar, and they are contracted with you to spend the MSTU money. Richard Levy tried to pull the manager of my CDD company up to do the assessments for the MSTU. Isn't that funny? Mr. Richard Levy sits on CDD boards. So I don't see what economic he's bringing for the citizens. I see lots of economic for developers. So can we remedy this and get rid of that contract? Thank you. Oh, one other thing. I don't appreciate your comment on style. Yankees, people that are located outside of Florida, anybody can go to Style and watch your interview. I'm one of those folks that's from outside of Florida, and I'm highly offended by that comment.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to Jeremy Grogan.
Morning.
Morning.
Appreciate you for allowing me to speak. My name is Jeremy Grogan. I'm a combat war veteran and resident of Lake County. I live over in Leesburg off of West Main Street. Actually, I met Mr. Sabatini. Congratulations to your new family. So I'd just like to be able to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm self-made, started my career in military aviation and went into CNC robotics. After that, I went as general aviation. I have an airframe and power plant license and FCC radar endorsement. Then I became a rocket launch pad technician for SpaceX. It was originally from Georgia, so I came down here in 2016. After my time with SpaceX, I actually became an engineer inspector at Universal Orlando. Then COVID happened, and they started terminating people left and right. I became a engineer inspector for Mitsubishi Power shortly after. And I even worked at Ocado, which is the e-commerce for Kroger distributions. Now, I can speak on that Kroger facility. Plain and simple is that if you go woke, you go broke. When I worked there, I was terminated shortly after being hired there. I was sent to Frederick, Maryland, and went to Washington, D.C. However, they terminated me on my way back for actually attending, a little bit extra time and leisure on my own expense. They basically fired me for being patriotic and loyal to the current administration. Now, one thing I wanted to speak about was the joint planning agreement that failed to address the growing enablement of organized crime and drug abuse within Leesburg. There is no such thing as a free lunch, and charity subsidies will be the future burden of local taxpayers. Donation centers, low-income housing, and religious camouflage prevent positive change and intervention. Municipal government becomes corrupt and biased to victimization and self-pity. Partial judgments have become negligent and complacent to individual prosperity with unity. In order to restore the American dream, we must end the catering to poverty and organized crime. Inefficient distribution of wealth and accountability created an insane nightmare. These subsidies have promoted opportunity for a socialist communist agenda, quickly profiling and targeting threats to democracy, instigating action for thought police. Anyone challenging Samaritan partisan is subject to bigotry and supremacy. Revelation of truth must not be censored. Deep state practices with asylum practices created mass corruption for DEI subsidies. This does not allow a healthy capitalist model, nor does it retain innovation talent. I implore the Board of County Commissioners to initiate policies that make America great again in order to prevent a despairing, totalitarian community. Now, I understand that a lot of that stuff is controversial, and I'm usually not someone that wins popularity contests. But I just want to be able to let you know that we are weeks away from the big, beautiful bill to opening up, and they have a system called Palantir, which allows everyone to be monitored by a centralized agency of AI systems, which I have already been a victim to the citations I received off of Lee Street from a traffic violation that I think was egregious. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. Okay, next, Cindy Newton.
Good morning again. Cindy Newton, District 4. I want to talk about a safety concern on the intersection of Bates, Lake Lincoln, and Estee Road. That there is a crossing there that's totally ignored. It's close to the middle school. The middle school sits pretty much the same distance from DeLand, bypass 44 and Estee Road. Yet there's no school zone on Estee. Since Lake Lincoln subdivision was built, children are walking across that intersection. Estee Road has a speed limit of 40, but people often go 60, 70 miles an hour down the road. I've come close to seeing 3 children hit just in the past 2.5 weeks. 2 of them were walking, one of them was on a bicycle trying to cross the street on. If we could either do a school zone there, school crossing, 4-way stop instead of a 2-way stop, something to help protect these children. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. All right, the last card I have is for Alan Foote. Did I pronounce your name correct? Foote, yes. Foote, okay.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm here about Evergreen Memorial Garden Cemetery. I've spoken to Commissioner Smith before, and Ms. Marsh, I'm sorry I missed your email yesterday. But I've been working at the cemetery for the past 3 years. It's a neglected black cemetery. The weeds are, you probably already know, but the weeds are sometimes as high as the hood of my car, or the engine and everything. And up until recently, the only maintenance done is by individual families that go there. And we've been trying to find out who the owner of the place is. And we've gotten a couple of names and a couple of properties, LLCs, and it's going downhill to a Carter Properties with in care of Colleen Diaz in Zellwood. Well, I've gotten as far down to that, trying to find out someone to take care of this thing. And Colleen Diaz, I tried to make contact with her, and she hung up on me, so I'm not getting anywhere there. Now, there is a small section of the cemetery on the southwest side that is county property. It's Parks and Trails. And this is kind of a follow-up to our meeting as to where can I go to next? Everything, the property's been, the LLC's been dissolved. BS Properties has been dissolved, as well as Carter Properties, and that was as of September of this year. And I had read somewhere, and I may be mistaken, that if an LLC property is neglected and dissolved, and there's no place to proclaim ownership, that a court judge can either take control of it or turn it over to the community. I may be mistaken in the wordage and everything, but what can I do now, or what can we do now to take care of this cemetery?
So to help the board out, I had a conversation in a meeting with our code enforcement and Parks and Trails 2 weeks ago. We are working through the process to try to figure this out. You had Thanksgiving in the middle of this 2 weeks. You know how government works. Government works the quickest as possible. And so we're running down all the lines. We have not forgotten about the cemetery, and we are working through the due process legally that we can to see what's going on with this piece of property. And once we do, I will reach back out to you, as I promised, to let you know what's going on.
I know, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foote. Appreciate that. And thanks for your concern about these are important issues. And thank you, Commissioner, for taking that on and updating everybody. All right, I don't have any more cards. Is there somebody? Okay, so we do have somebody online. Go ahead.
Yes, we do have one caller, Barbara Morris. You should be able to unmute your line. Then please state your name for the record and give your comments to the board.
All right.
Barbara Morris, District 4. I've been under the weather, so I haven't been attending lately, and I missed one of the meetings prior, so I needed to bring up an issue with you. County Road 437 realignment in Sorrento, Mount Plymouth area. It does not match up with the MPO list of priority projects. The ARC GIS public map, numbered number 14, shows an entirely different road that they are recommending for priority projects than what the county is approving. They don't even come close to being similar. I think it's something that needs to be looked into as to why the public is being shown on one entity, one thing, and with the county, an entirely different thing. In addition to that, we have now gone where this is proposed in 2016 under page 19 of the 2016-1220 minutes of the Board of County Commissioners. This was originally proposed at $700,000 for right-of-way costs. We are now topping millions. And in addition, over 2 years ago, when I pulled a public records request, evidently, I thought all the right-of-way had already been bought. I know people who actually received checks before you just approved right-of-way purchase on this road. So I really want all of you maybe to look into the situation with this road, because it does nothing to help this community. It's a glorified entranceway for the Hillcrest PUD at taxpayers' expense. It is something that is not a priority, does not benefit the citizens, and we have much bigger projects that need to be funded instead of this. So I haven't had a chance to pull the public records like I normally would. I will when I feel better, but I'm asking you as commissioners, you spend our tax monies, please make sure that it's not subsidizing individual development. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Morris. Anybody else online? Okay, nobody's online. I don't see anybody else, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment, question and comment period. Your card will come up, Mr. Peterson. Yeah, you filled out a card for, yes, tab. Oh, no, I won't pass it if you, I have a speaker for tab 9 and for you for 17. So when we get to there, I'll call you up. We'll call you up. Thank you. All right, so we are done, as I said, with question and comment period. We'll move right into our Clerk of Court's consent agenda. And again, Ms. Christy Mullane.
Thank you. Christy Mullane with Lake County Clerk's Office. For the record, we request approval of the Clerk of Court's consent agenda.
All right, do I hear?
Move to approve. Move to approve.
Second.
All right, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. All right, so now we'll go on to the consent agenda. This is tabs 3 through 11 and tab 16. Do I have that correct, Jennifer?
Yes, tab 5 has already been approved. That was pulled for discussion earlier.
That's right, -5.
And then everything else is good, yes.
Okay, I do have a speaker card for tab 9, and Mr. Broadway, Brian Broadway. I think I see him in the audience.
And I'd like to pull tab 7.
Okay, so let's pull tab 9 and tab 7, and we'll do those. And Brian, I'll call you up for tab 9. Yeah. All right, so this would be I would need a motion for the consent agenda, tabs 3 through 11 and 16 -5, and 7, and 7 and 9, correct.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. All right, so let's go to tab 7 first.
All right, tab 7, I don't need anybody to come up. It's just more of a request for the board. This is a Verizon tower lease agreement it's money that was not expected to come to us. I'd like to see 10% go toward roads.
Okay, that's fair.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, it can be. I'd like to make a motion that we approve tab 7 with 10% of the proceeds going to roads.
You sure you don't want all of it to go to roads? You could do all of it,
I
16.5.
think 10% is good.
Okay,
Let's
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, so we can do that. Any discussion on that for tab 7? Motion's clear. All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. That was tab 7. So tab 9, Mr. Broadway, Brian Broadway.
Good morning, everyone. I was just wanted to say thank you. We're excited about the ARP funds that will help us continue to serve vulnerable population. We're grateful for our partnership, grateful for the work of Lake County Housing, of our Lake County Commissioners, and we're excited about this new project that will allow us to help families that are in need. We continue to do that throughout our county, and we just wanted to say thank you for your support and your continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, and I will publicly say that I appreciate everything you do. You have such a passion and a heart for this, like very few people that I see. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
This is grant money that's passed through.
Yes, yeah, exactly. All right, I would just need a motion on that.
Move approval.
Okay, any final discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. Okay, so we have finished our consent agenda, and we will now go to annexation report, correct? Got it. Go ahead, catch up to it.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioners, good morning. For the record, Mike Fitzgerald, the Director of the Office of Planning and Zoning, I'll be presenting your annexation report. Bear with me. We have 2 annexations to report today. The first one is for the city of Eustis. They are proposing to annex 5.56 acres east of State Road 19, north of County Road 44. Current Lake County zoning is urban low R6. Proposed city zoning is suburban corridor design district. Current Lake County FLU is urban low, which is up to 4 units per acre. The proposed city FLU is a mixed commercial industrial district. Lake County is 4 units per acre. The municipality is a mixed-use commercial district. Suburban corridor design, they have a form-based code design district in their LDRs. Their floor area ratio will be 2.5, and their open space will be reduced to 10%. Here's the property. As you can see from the map, it's a little easier to see on the zoning and FLU maps that this is an enclave surrounded by the city of Eustis. We did receive a comment from our Lake County floodplain manager expressing concern as far as watershed in the area. As you can see, this is the Lake County flood map showing that the property is in the flood zone, and then this map indicates the wetland location. With that said, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions?
Obviously, I'm opposed to that. So.
All right, sounds like no questions.
Okay, very good. Moving on, the next annexation is for the city of Groveland. This is 147.47 acres northwest of Bright Hill Phase 1, south of Peachtree Hills. The current Lake County zoning is agriculture and planned commercial district. The proposed city zoning is village core, center edge. Current county FLU is regional office. Proposed city FLU is village land use category. The current county density is 1 dwelling unit per acre. The proposed city density is 6 dwelling units per acre. The intent is to develop the subject property with a residential subdivision in accordance with city standards. Here is the aerial map location.
Totally ridiculous.
As you can see, this is abutting the city of Groveland on the north and south side. Once again, we did receive comments from our floodplain manager that the watershed in this vicinity poses some concerns, so that will have to be taken into consideration by the engineer if this is approved by the city and moves forward to construction.
And those comments were relayed to Groveland.
We can, if not, we certainly can relay them to the city of Groveland.
Yeah, I would be more than willing to write a letter and
Yeah, strong letter against this. This is
say that
one of
we
the
have
worst
some major
annexations
concerns
I've
about
ever
this.
seen proposed in the history of the county. I mean, this is not appropriate for that area. And this is right south of all the other horrible issues we're gonna have with Howie and all the traffic and 2-lane roads. And, I mean, literally, this is like just a bullet to the head for that whole area. Horrible. Can't even believe they would take this seriously. City is just out of line. Sorry, I just think it's insane. There's not a single person in this entire county, not one person in this whole county that wants this other than a developer and potentially some people on the commission. It is just insane.
All right, so you'll write a letter saying we discussed it today, and then we had these concerns with it.
We will work through the county attorney's office to have that letter crafted and sent
I'll
to the
sign it. Since it's in my district, I'll sign it and send it on with our objections to it.
Correct. My
Or at least
office
mine.
will draft it in coordination with Commissioner Smith.
Okay, great. All right,
And I don't know of anybody on this commission here that would like this.
Definitely not.
I don't know, I think Mr. Sabatini was talking about the Groveland Commission, not our commission.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. That's a council.
not county staff.
Hopefully, we don't get mixed up.
There's only one city that has a commission, that's Leesburg. Everybody else is a council. Yeah. Sorry for the civics lesson.
I'm glad you
Civics
corrected
lesson
that.
lecture, but yeah.
For the record.
Okay, all right, so, Mike, anything else?
I think there's something in between my next presentation, unless at the board's pleasure, I can stay up here and we can skip to public hearings for rezonings.
Eustis has a commission too, by the way.
Oh, they do. Well, you, so touche, you got me on that one. All right. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
You turned it back on me. My apologies. Okay, and I'm sorry, what's,
If you would choose to skip to item 8, public hearings for rezonings, the separate agenda, tab 13, and come back to 12, we can certainly do that.
12 is already done.
12 is done?
I'm sorry.
All right, so you're saying next we have the rezonings?
Oh, that's the MSTU, I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah, so next we would be doing the rezonings, but what I'd like to do, since we have Career Source here, if anybody on the commission that has a problem with this, it's okay, but since they're here, if they could come up and speak, they have time limitations, so maybe we could do that first, if everybody's okay, which would be agenda item 17, correct? We could do that now, and then we'll go into our rezonings, because I think it's only one item, and I'm sure Mr. Crawford, who's getting paid by the hour, doesn't matter, so. All right, so we'll go right to tab 17 now. Jennifer? Or Melanie, I'm sorry.
Meg. It's actually going to be Meg.
Okay.
I don't mind being mistaken for Jennifer or Melanie. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Meg Brew, Director for the Office of Economic Development. I am before you this morning for discussion and direction regarding Kroger Company of Ohio's recent closure announcement and to present a proposal related to fiscal year 26 funds budgeted for incentive agreements made between Lake County, Kroger, and Ocado. As you are aware, Lake County operates an economic development incentive program designed to attract capital investment and create medium and high-wage jobs in our community. These incentives are deployed strategically when Lake County is competing with other communities for targeted industries, helping us stand out as a destination for investment. In 2019, the Lake County Office of Economic Development successfully incentivized Kroger and Ocado to select Groveland as the site for their Florida distribution center. Together, these companies invested more than $280 million into the Groveland project. During their period of operation, they contributed significantly to the local tax base, paying over $8 million in ad valorem taxes and nearly $500,000 in impact fees. Our incentive program does require companies to meet agreed-upon metrics annually before payments are issued. Additionally, the agreements spell out that the number of agreed-upon jobs must be maintained throughout the life of the agreement. Kroger and Ocado did meet these requirements in 2022, 2023, and 2024, resulting in incentive payments in those 3 years totaling $313,000 for Kroger and $871,000 for Ocado. Additionally, Kroger received a waiver of their impact fees in the amount of $147,000. A simple return on investment calculation based on taxes and impact fee monies received from Kroger and Ocado, as well as incentives and waivers paid out to Kroger and Ocado, results in an ROI of over 600%. This calculation, of course, does not include wages or the impact of capital investments. On November 18th, 2025, Kroger announced plans to change their e-commerce model and withdraw from several states, including Florida. This unexpected decision will result in the closure of the Groveland facility and the loss of nearly 1,000 jobs in Lake County by February 1st, 2026. The timing of this announcement during the holiday season has been especially devastating for affected employees and for the broader community. Lake County has responded to this closure as we would to a natural disaster, quickly, collaboratively, and thoughtfully. In partnership with the City of Groveland, LEAD, Career Source, Central Florida, and Kroger leadership, we have established a regular cadence of meetings to develop a soft landing strategy for impacted employees. And on Thursday of next week, we will host the first of 2 on-site job fairs to connect displaced workers with potential employers and other resources. And we are planning a repeated effort for that in January. In the meantime, the County Attorney's Office has been working on the best path forward for ending the aforementioned agreements. To that end, we would recommend approval of the following items. 1, for the county attorney to send a termination letter to Kroger Company of Ohio as required by the Economic Development Incentive Grant Agreement and the Waiver of Impact Fees Agreement. This may be waived if the parties execute a termination agreement. 2, of a termination agreement for Kroger Company of Ohio. And 3, for the county attorney to send a notice of possible material breach letter to Ocado Solutions USA Incorporated as required by the Economic Development Incentive Grant Agreement and approval of a termination agreement if necessary. Please note that the termination agreements do include a provision that no payments shall be made for tax year 2025 incentives, and a provision that Kroger and Ocado shall reimburse the county the full amount of grant and impact fee waivers paid to date. I do have an exciting proposal for the reallocation of current fiscal year incentive funds, but before we get to that, I'll turn it back to the board for discussion and action regarding these items.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. Let me just start off the discussion by, one, acknowledging sincerely, I know from me, and I'm sure all the board members, to anybody here and that is listening, that we understand the devastation of this news, to you, as you mentioned before the holidays. You were on my mind throughout the holiday, throughout this Thanksgiving weekend, because I'm sitting here trying to put myself in your shoes, somebody that's employed there, and they get this news, and I'm sure to say the least, it was very distracting on, the season of trying to be thankful, and then you're getting this news that your job is lost on starting February 1st. So I can only imagine, I'm not in your shoes, but for those that are listening, I know some people at my church that were affected by this. I just want to, again, I can't express enough, how much I feel for you and how devastating this is. In light of that, I will say thank you very much to Meg, to Jennifer, to Kathleen, and I see Pam from Career Source, for, as you said, literally jumping on this, it can't be emphasized enough, jumping on this as if it was a natural disaster, spending a lot of hours, what can we do, let's figure something out, a course of action, and that's what you brought to us today. I mean, literally, we just got this news. We are all sitting here at our commission meeting the last Tuesday that we had our meeting, and we're getting the news just as we're starting the meeting. That's how we didn't even know. So this is so sudden, and it's shocking, but you've handled it very well. I want to thank Secretary of Commerce from the state of Florida, Mr. Kelly, Alex Kelly. Had a personal conversation with him over the Thanksgiving weekend, and he was offering up assistance and help to us. There's an event perhaps coming up. There will be at some point. I don't know the exact date.
We have a job fair on December 10th that
This
we're
10th.
partnering with Career Source Lead and the City of Groveland to host at Kroger.
Okay, good. Yes, and they will be there. So I wanted to make sure I was correct on the date. So that's good. All right, so that'll be December 10th for anybody. We started putting the news out there on that. So thank you very much for doing that. And I think these are obviously something I totally support, and even your next step as well, which you're going to get to here in a moment or so. But any discussion before we get to what staff is also going to propose to us for a next step?
Okay. You've met with Lake Sumter State College and Lake Tech and prepared them for the onslaught. There's a lot of certificate programs that you can do at the college and Lake Tech that might help out. So
Everyone's been wonderful partners.
thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to say that I was highly disappointed and frankly surprised at how Kroger handled this whole situation. Like, as Commissioner Parks said, we didn't find out until we were in session during the meeting last Tuesday. I thought that maybe a heads up or this conversation was even happening would have been good for us to get prepared. So I truly do feel sorry for all the impacted employees of Kroger. And we'll see where your next steps are.
Yeah, anything else?
No, I agree totally with the sentiment and the ideas and the policies that are being proposed.
Okay, great. So you want to go ahead, Meg, and tell us what you think we could do
I can do
next?
that, and if you want to come back to the action on that, we can do that.
All right, so,
Well, I'll make a motion that we
yeah.
approve the recommended approvals.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, very good. All right, any discussion on that?
Well, you might want to let there's been some social media concerns that we were just giving money away and we're not going to get money back. Can you explain how we do that, Jennifer or Melanie, somebody?
So the money that was distributed for incentives was performance-based. It was not upfront funding that was distributed. They had to meet specific metrics every year, and if they met those metrics, and that was the number of jobs at a certain wage level that were created, if they met those metrics, they were given an incentive annually. So at this point, we are looking to not pay the incentive for the current tax year, 2025, and the terms of the original agreement do state that the jobs must be in place through the term of the agreement, which was 10 years. So it is the county's position that since those positions will not be retained for the full 10 years of the term of the agreement, that we have an opportunity to recoup the funding that was provided in the prior tax years.
Perfect. And I spoke with county attorney. We don't have a clawback clause in our agreements, so maybe it's something we could look into, that we could do a clawback clause.
So we don't have specific language, but we do have the intent of the agreement, which says that they have to maintain it. But going forward, we will look at more specific
Put some more teeth
language.
into it. Okay.
Yeah,
thank
because
you.
that part's a little bit nebulous maybe, because we had the understanding that it's 10 years.
We're taking the position that if they do not comply for the entire 10 years, that they owe the money back.
I agree with that, and that's my position too.
And before the board takes a vote, I think you had some speaker cards.
I was going to get to that, yeah, and I have one speaker card, I believe. And is there anybody online that wants to speak about this? So, Mr. Peterson, do you want to speak? We have a motion on the table. You can either speak on that or wait till afterwards, whatever's your choice. Okay, yeah. Sure, yeah.
Okay. All right, Donald J. Peterson, running for governor of Florida, and I'm going to legalize day one. Why aren't we selling the cannabis? Law enforcement is selling all the cannabis, okay? That's a complete betrayal of public trust, okay? They're doing the reverse drug stings, too. That's trafficking. Law enforcement posing as drug dealers selling confiscated drugs, okay? They're doing it. The 12 people, the 12 deputies in Mississippi who were arrested for trafficking drugs, you know what they were doing? I looked into the whole thing. Reverse drug stings. Lieutenant Willis told me they're doing it here. Yeah, we're doing reverse drug stings. So you're trafficking drugs. We got to sell the marijuana. Because, do you remember Act 15%? Alcohol, cannabis, tobacco, 15% state tax, county by county taxation revenue. You should already be taxing the alcohol. Give all that to first responders, okay? The tobacco tax should already be happening to fix that road in Mount Dora. You have the money. Tax the tobacco 15%. Tax the alcohol 15%. Now, you're not selling the cannabis because of racketeering, okay? But what I'm saying is you can change this. Do you think there's any coincidence that that building is just going to be open in February? They're leaving. That is the Lake County Cannabis Company building, okay? Growing in there, you need to grow indoors, okay? See how many of those workers want to grow cannabis for Lake County. You need to open men's centers, separate women and children's centers. Do you know how many people in Lake County who've had wonderful jobs, $4,000 a month mortgages, and they're sitting in the dark right now? They can't afford their power bill. They can't afford the water. So what are they doing? They can't bathe. So what I'm saying is we need that money, the cannabis money. You know, if you open the Lake County Cannabis Company, I'll do all the footwork for you. I'll get the whole thing going. And you know what you'll make? $45 million a month. That's $540 million a year, okay? You need that money. Now, we're waiting on President Trump to legalize recreational marijuana. Don't give it to True Leave. True Leave is a ripoff, okay? The counties need that money. What I'm going to do for the state is the Florida Cannabis Company, which means that counties that don't want to sell the cannabis, like you got a free building now. Here's what you have to do. You put a lien on the property, and you tell Kroger, you pay up the whole thing, or you can't sell that property. Ask them to donate that building and that property to Lake County. And we need 6 Kroger residential delivery vehicles, vans, to deliver the cannabis. We need 5 stores, Lake County Cannabis Company, and we need to have those by March or April, and we need to sell our first harvest by July of '26. Okay, we can do this, but get that building, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Peterson.
Lake County Cannabis Company, get that building. Right.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the table. Are you clear? Okay, good. Any discussion on the motion on the table, and that is for approval of 1, 2, and 3, as you see on the screen. All right, there has been a motion and a second, so final discussion, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously, so now we'll move on to part two.
As part of our annual budgeting process, we had earmarked $400,000 in fiscal year '26 for anticipated incentive payments to be made to Kroger and Ocado. With the closure announcement, of course, staff's position is that the county is no longer obligated to issue these payments. What we do propose is reallocating these funds to support training and upskilling for displaced workers in Lake County. Through an agreement with CareerSource Central Florida, the funds could be used to cover tuition and/or other associated expenses at Lake Sumter State College, Lake Tech College, and through our other education and training partners, enabling laid-off employees to transition to higher skill, higher wage, in-demand jobs. This proposal ensures that funds that were originally intended to support economic development continue to serve that mission by investing directly in our residents and strengthening Lake County's workforce. While the finer details of the program will need to be worked out, we would propose prioritizing funds for Lake County residents laid off by Kroger and Ocado. After a defined period, any remaining funds could then be extended to other Lake County residents impacted by layoffs. CareerSource would administer the program, ensuring proper tracking and accountability alongside our educational partners. The funds that we would invest in this program would also be leveraged alongside anticipated funds from the state and other sources to reach the greatest number of people possible. We would consider deploying these funds either we could consider deploying these funds either after any additional state assistance has been exhausted or as a supplement to cover expenses not provided for in state funds. Any formal agreement would, of course, be brought back to the board for approval, but with that, I'll turn it over to the chair for discussion and direction. I'm, of course, happy to answer any questions you might have, and we have also been joined today by representatives of CareerSource and Lake Tech to assist with any questions specific to their operations. Thank you.
Okay, great. I think it's a great proposal, and again, it shows how quickly you thought we're thinking about things that could help the actual residents that lost their jobs here or are losing their jobs. So if I were to summarize, this is essentially taking what was their incentive that they were from this year, and we're actually going to use it now that they're pulling out, and they pulled out on us so quickly like that. We're going to use it to help the people that are being laid off on February 1st. So it's pretty simple in that.
Correct.
Okay.
How many employees were affected?
There are just shy of 1,000 employees affected. We don't expect that all of them would want to take advantage of this program. Some may want to go right back into the workforce. But for people who maybe have not had the opportunity to earn a certificate, this could be a silver lining to the stress that they've been through.
Yeah, and I think it's also just important to think about it at least, and I'm not sure exactly what you can do at this moment, but the sort of the spin-off businesses that might be affected by this massive layoff. You have some small businesses. I mean, I know some that have set up childcare and support businesses, you know, basically banking on the fact that that large employer is right there next door. And so those spin-off businesses, I think, are going to be hurt as well. And, you know, will they possibly be, I don't know. It sounds like this is going to be specific towards the employees only, but.
It could be.
Yeah.
We have reached out and had conversations with Kroger to try to develop a better understanding of those spin-off businesses and identify them. And kind of our next stage will be to reach out to them and see if there's any supports that we can offer to them as well.
Right, exactly, okay.
So this is not to diminish anything that's happening here, but CareerSource has already gotten a significant amount of funds from the county to do their operations, correct? This is just additional money for CareerSource?
We do not fund CareerSource.
Okay. So this is additional money for CareerSource or what they?
This would be a pass-through. They would be the pass-through to help administer the scholarship funds.
I'm just kind of wondering about, like our Lake Tech schools, are they going to receive any funding because they may see an uptick in their students due to this current loss? Is there going to be any of that in consideration?
The tuition would go towards them?
Yeah, if you want
Yes.
to put the previous slide on, maybe, does that help summarize that? See, so
Okay,
reallocation.
Lake Tech.
Yeah,
Lake
yeah.
Sumter State College, okay, as long as they get it as well. And I would also like to see 10% of this go to roads.
I'll second that.
I got a question. Do we have estimates? If you don't, it's fine, but I'd like to find out of what the breakdown of people who worked at Kroger that lived in Lake County versus outside Lake County?
I can see if I can get that from Kroger HR, the local one. My understanding, just in conversation anecdotally, is that the majority
Okay.
live and work in Lake County, but there are, of course, workers who come from over the county lines.
Sure. Okay. But no, I like this proposal. I think it's good. And, you know, they're on board and everybody's on board. I see all of our leaders here, stakeholders. So this sounds like a very good program. It's a good way to do it, quickly, too.
Yeah, I have no problem with the program. The only thing I would like to suggest is that we put 10% toward our roads.
Yeah, and if, I mean, I'm all for, maybe putting as much money towards roads. So if we can do that, because there's supposed to be sort of a nexus, but if our attorney says it's okay, I would be totally good with that.
The tax incentives are funded through the general fund, so this is just general fund dollars that can be allocated towards roads.
Okay, so we could do that. We were trying to keep it tied with some kind of nexus, but roads is a critical issue, so I think that's a good idea, and I don't,
Well, I'd leave the door open also that if they need additional funds to come back and ask.
Okay.
Okay, we need to know really what's going on with these people. It's a crisis.
And there's a chance, I'm not saying this is likely, but there's a chance that that all this money isn't used in this regard, correct? Because, in an ideal world, everybody just jumps right back into the workplace, and they have existing programs to retrain, and so there's a portion left over. That would come back to the county, correct?
Correct, it
I mean,
could.
I guess,
So it could remain or be reallocated, or we could consider a program to extend similar. We've had other closures recently, even small businesses that have closed and have impacted people, so we could consider extending the funds, but any sort of decision like that would come back to the
Okay,
board.
sounds good.
and I know Pam is here, so Pam, always great to see you. I don't know if you want to say anything? You don't have to, but if you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. Commissioner Parks, you said that this truly is a crisis, and I've been in workforce development for 30 years, and this is really where the workforce development system, in partnership with the government in Lake County, as well as our training partners, can really jump in and assist people who are in real crisis, as you said, around the holidays. It's a huge shock to learn that your job is going away. And I think, the jobs that are at Kroger were really great jobs for the people. We worked with the county in really staffing that facility. And so we are definitely jumping out in front with the county and with our partners in education. We will also, as you mentioned, leverage the resources we receive through Florida Commerce in workforce development for training and retraining, and also providing individuals individualized career plans so that they have an idea of where they go next. And it's really critical to get to them immediately in this time period, in the 60 days, before they lose their jobs, to get them on a path to a next job. And I feel very confident that we'll be able to provide all of the individuals with great resources for both jobs, which we're doing just next week and in January, as well as for opportunities to retrain with our partners at Lake Tech and Lake Sumter State College and other education partners in the region. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity to partner with you. I will tell you that this is a time where we are also being strained with our workforce training resources in other parts of the region. As you've probably heard, we've had layoffs across the region, unfortunately. And so our training dollars already in this year are already obligated at almost over 50%. And so these dollars will really assist Lake County residents directly with getting the training and credentialing that they need.
Yeah, thank you. And I know Frito-Lay over in Orange County and a few others took
Yes,
a big hit
yes,
as well.
financial
so.
services company, another 250. And there've been quite a few, and I'm concerned we may see more as the year, progresses into 2026.
Is Kroger allowing you to do your job fairs on their site, close to their location?
I believe the job fair next year is on site. Yes, I'll turn it back over here.
Yes, the job fair will be on site on their location.
Both of them or just the one?
We've only solidified the first one, so we're going to kind of regroup and may look into having that at an alternative location, different time of day. We're just trying to make sure that everyone who works there has access to it.
And you may or may not be able to answer this, but how would CareerSource get this information out to the infected employees about other opportunities?
Yeah, we have been working, we have been meeting pretty regularly, even through the holidays. And we have involved Kroger leadership at both the local and their corporate level. The local level has been delightful to work with. They're very motivated to see their friends and colleagues back to work and have these opportunities. Career Source was able to get a nice flyer made for us, and they have one that we're sharing with businesses to find the people who are hiring that we can bring to the job fairs, as well as one that is being circulated amongst employees.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you obviously can't communicate enough on this, so communications, you'll communicate this like almost on a daily basis if you can, the December 10th meeting, excuse me, coming up, all that, because I'm going to direct people there to get the information as well.
It is important that any employers who would like to participate do register with us. There's a QR code on the flyer. And we'll make sure that gets circulated because Kroger is a secure facility and we have to supply the names of folks who are going to be there. So we don't want anyone turned away at the door.
Great.
I got a question. With the terminations, is it all at once or it's already happening? I mean, are people being terminated now or is it all in January? Because I know they announced that it was going to be in January. but
They're
is this
scaling down from my understanding.
Is that immediate?
Their hope is to maintain as many employees as possible until February 1st.
Okay.
If I'm in those employees' shoes and I have another job offer or additional opportunity, I'm going to take that. So I think they're anticipating that some people are going to be looking right away. They are offering an incentive, which we're trying to get some more information on for people who are willing to stay the entire time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked the question because my concern, I think this is a good program, but, the only alternative that I would consider would be if they were already terminating mass amounts of people before their closure, like now, like going into the holiday, maybe some kind of program or step to do some more immediate assistance. But since what you're telling me is, obviously they're trying to keep people on through the end, I don't think that needs to be considered immediately. But, obviously if that comes up, we can talk about it at the next meeting.
And we're working very rapidly on getting this rolled out so that it's, people don't need help 6 months from now. They need help pretty immediately. So we're trying to be as responsive as we can.
Do you know if Kroger gave them any incentive money?
Kroger gave whom?
Did the employees get any incentive money? Do you know?
They got, some of them got hiring, I mean, depending upon what need they had at a certain period of time, but as I understand.
Well, I'm talking about on the way out.
Oh.
I mean, did they?
They are offering the employees who are willing to stay some level of financial compensation above and beyond what they normally earn. I haven't gotten exact clarity on what that is or who it's applicable to yet.
Thank you.
Any
Well,
further questions?
No, I think it's a good proposal, and again, I think it's also, can't be reiterated enough about incentives. So I applaud the staff, very carefully, very conservative, so that we wouldn't be on the hook for anything more than what was already promised, because that was a question that came up. And that's how economic incentives work, by the way. We're trying to attract these kind of employers. Yes, this is an absolute devastation, but the incentives do play a role. They can be the final deciding factor for employers like this, like it happened 3 or 4 years ago and may happen in the future. But as long as we are very careful in making sure that we don't get on the hook for for payments in future years or something that they don't deliver on. And I think that's the difference here that I feel a lot better about. I hate that this happened, but I do feel like we protected ourselves, and we're now, and I think personally they're in breach of the 10-year agreement, and we're going to look at the legal avenues for that as well. And maybe we have a pretty good case, I think, but we'll see. But at least we're protected moving forward. So this is a great proposal again, and I don't know if
So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the reallocation of funds to support training and upskilling through the partnership of Career Source, Central Florida, Lake Technical College, Lake Sumter State College, and other training and educational partners, minus 10% going towards roads.
You missed a comma.
Second. We got a second. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We look forward to bringing the proposal back to you with more details soon.
Great. Okay, so now we will go to Mike, if you would like to please come up. There you are. We're going to go back to our planning and zoning agenda.
Thank you, Chairman. For the record, Mike Fitzgerald, the Office of Planning and Zoning Director. I'm going to back up to the annexation report. Staff was able to complete an additional annexation report for today's meeting. For that, I'm going to request use of the overhead to show the location. This is for the City of Leesburg. City of Leesburg is proposing to annex 25 acres on the south side of County Road 48, east of Number 2 Road. Current Lake County zoning is agriculture. Planned city zoning is PUD, planned unit development. County FLU is rural transition, and the proposed city FLU is estate residential. The current Lake County density is 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres, but in rural transition, there are options based on open space. If you're going anywhere from 35 to 50% open space, you can do 1 dwelling unit per 5 net acres, 1 per 3, or 1 per 1. The municipality is proposing estate residential, which is proposing 3 dwelling units per 1 acre for the planned unit development, and a proposed open space of 30%. As you can see from this map, the property is surrounded by the City of Leesburg on the north, south, and west. And as stated, the intent is to develop the property with a residential use in accordance with the regulations of the City of Leesburg.
Great. Any comments, questions, Commissioner? All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Okay, moving back to the presentation. There are 2 items on today's agenda, a future land use amendment and a rezoning. As the board may recall, this item has been brought before the board on October 7th and December 2nd. It was, September 2nd, October 7th, and now December 2nd. This is a requested action to amend the future land use on approximately 15.53 acres from regional office future land use to planned unit development to facilitate a development program for Claremont West, a 300-unit multifamily development. That is the future land use amendment, and the rezoning is for a change from urban residential R6 to planned unit development with 4 waivers listed for building height, elevation changes in the lot grading, and then an exemption to the building height as well. The developer is here today. The postponements were for the sake of the developer to speak to the City of Claremont. This property is surrounded by the City of Claremont. It is an enclave, and the board has requested that the developer work with the City of Claremont to see if this can be annexed and the highest and best use be inside the City of Claremont. The developer is in the process of doing that. Staff has received an email from the Assistant City Manager of the City of Claremont that they are in fact working with the developer and would be open to this item being postponed even further to give more time to the developer. With that, the developer is here to address the board.
Okay, before the applicant comes forward, just wanted to go through this again, just to make sure we're due process. Any disclosures of discussions with the applicant or anybody else related to this project?
Had no discussions.
I've had discussions with the owner.
Okay. And I will disclose that I have met with Mr. Crawford, or had discussions at least, as well as the City of Claremont. Commissioner? No? Okay.
Mike, has anything changed since the last time?
No, sir, nothing has changed.
Okay, we do have one card for this to speak, for us to speak. Ms. Newton?
From me before.
Yeah, we'll go ahead, and then Cindy, you can come up after. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. And my name is Jimmy Crawford, commissioners, members of the DICE today. I'm with Crawford, Muddock, and Holt Law Firm, and I represent the owner and the applicant. 380 West Alfred Street, Tavares is my work address. As to anything has changed, Commissioner Morris, change might not, I'm not sure how the question, what was meant by the question, but we have been working every week since the previous postponement. the city hired a new planning firm, the planning firm run by Andrew Dewani, who did Seaside and is a national leader, international leader in new urbanism. That firm is redoing the comprehensive plan of Claremont. We were asked by the city of Claremont to wait for that so this new firm that came on about a month ago can work with us in the design. They have recommended an architectural firm that we have engaged, and we have had 4 or 5 meetings with the city personnel and the architectural firm and the city's planning firm. I'd love to give you more details about that. There is progress being made, and both sides are optimistic, as expressed in Mr. Mathis's email, that we'll be able to come to an agreement. After the first meeting, they banned lawyers from the planner meeting, so which probably is a positive thing, but so I cannot tell you great details other than we'll probably wind up sacrificing some density and developing a lot of walkability and livability and green space design features into the project. We, in conjunction with the city, are requesting a 90-day postponement because I don't want to do this again. And the holidays are coming up, and between now and January 3rd, it's going to be pretty hard to get much done. But we are committed to continuing to do it. I will not come before you and ask for another postponement. We'll just withdraw. I believe an eventual withdrawal is what's going to happen anyway, as soon as we have agreement with the city where we can apply to annex. Upon that, I will immediately withdraw this. In this new era of city-county land use cooperation, at least some of the cities, including Claremont, we would request that the county honor the city's request and our request and give us a little more time, and I do apologize for taking up your time. And I'd be happy to answer questions.
Mr. Chairman, if I can interject, rather than continuing to table it or postpone it for a time certain, my recommendation would be that you just flat out table it, and then when they're ready, if they want to come back, they will ask, and then we will re-advertise it and put it on whatever hearing cycle at the point that they ask, versus us continuing, because once you table it to a time certain, we have to have it on unless they withdraw.
Yeah, and
I love that idea.
Well, I appreciate it. You may not like this idea, but I don't think it's that bad. But I mean, what I was going to suggest is just deny it without prejudice, and we'll waive any fee if you want to resubmit within a year. I mean, you're working with the city anyway.
Functionally, I view that as the same. I'm not sure my client will love it because the D word is always bad for them. But without prejudice and waiving a fee within 12 months, I accept that. You told me very clearly last time to not come do this, so
Yeah.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, I mean, if we did that, then it you know, obviously this is in the city, and I mean, it's clearly in the city, and the discussions are going to happen. It's just going to inch forward a little bit. I know, I understand, but
I like that idea because it takes well, in a way I don't like it because it does take time pressure off, and I like each side having time pressure on them. But we will continue to work, and I believe the city is committed to that as well. So, of course, it's the board's discretion, and the applicant would be fine for that.
okay. Cindy, you want to come up? Public comment, and let me know if there's anybody online as well.
Cindy Newton, excuse me, Cindy Newton, District 4. I have no problem with it being either tabled or denied without prejudice. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cindy. Anybody else? Nobody online? Okay, so I'll close the public comment period on this and bring it back to the board. We've heard this a few times. I mean, my suggestion is, I can't make the motion, but it's to not deny without prejudice for 1 year, waive a fee if they want to come back.
I move that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'll second that with a comment.
Okay.
So the comment would be, I would be voting against this 100% of the time because it's truly in the city of Claremont. And the city, if you go ahead and sit back down. And the city of Claremont needs to approve it, not the county. So I'm 100% behind this denial.
All right, any final discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, I don't think we have anything else on the zoning agenda. So we'll close our public hearing for zonings, for rezonings, and move on to tab 14. This is a presentation. This was requested by Commissioner Smith.
That's
So do you want to
correct.
go
This
ahead
is
and
a,
make the introduction?
Presentation by Dave Ramba on behalf of the aggregate industry concerning an idea that he had, and I thought it'd be great for him to show everybody what the idea is. So, Mr. Ramba?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. David Ramba with Ramba Consulting Group out of Tallahassee. I'm here on behalf of the Florida Concrete and Products Association. We are a statewide industry group dealing with concrete, sand, roads. We love your incentives to build more roads and save money to buy more roads because we supply the aggregate materials and sand to build such roads, bridges throughout the state. We do have a brief presentation on some unique issues we run into in Lake County. In my experience around the state on behalf of this industry, this is the only county that has come up with this kind of unique determination on either the definition of development being sand mining or the concept of open space as it relates to the regulation of sand mining. We've been meeting with some staff and some commissioners, and in order to be fully transparent, we wanted to, at Commissioner Kirby Smith's suggestion, bring some of these ideas before the commission and see if we can find some areas of common interest. For a brief overview of the FDOT Strategic Aggregate Study, we have brought in Tom Herbert with Lample Herbert to discuss some of the aggregate issues in relating to the state of Florida. Mr. Herbert.
Commissioners, thank you. My name is Tom Herbert. I'm a geologist, professional geologist here in the state of Florida. Our firm, Lample Herbert, has been in business for 47 years out of Tallahassee, and we work in aggregates, materials, groundwater, mining, oil and gas across the resource areas. I wanted to give you a little background. We conducted a DOT study in 2006 and other studies in that period on availability of aggregates. The number of people in the state have increased. Aggregates are important. They're strategic. You walk out in the parking lot, asphalt parking lot, 80% of the material you're walking on is sand or aggregate materials. The rest is binder, the asphalt or go to concrete, concrete's the binder, but we use a tremendous amount. We've got, in our PowerPoint, we've got some statistics. We were contracted in 2006 to do an aggregate study. It was called the Strategic Aggregate Study. We came back in 2023 and they asked us to redo it. The main issue is transportation because we are using more materials than we can produce in the state. And one of the things that we were looking at was the growth in the state. We've got 23+ million people, and we're overtopping, we're stranding materials. In other words, we're either too close to the mines or you're actually putting developments over the top of mining areas. So the reserves that we have left are critical, and we have to use them very expeditiously. I'm here representing the industry as a geologist, spokesperson, and knowing what's going on in the industry for years. We did a project last year. It's called Rocks to Roads. It was how material get to the state. Some of it's internal, a lot of it's external. It's going to be coming from Alabama, Georgia, maritime provinces of Canada by ship, Bahamas, Caribbean, Mexico. There's materials going to be coming in here through all sorts of sources, but we have to use the materials internally that we have very prudently into the future. One of the issues that we brought up in our 2024 report on rocks to roads was stranding. In this case, we think it's kind of inadvertent stranding through the regulatory process. So we came up with a solution to modify this relative to what is open space. If you look at the study, the previous slide, it's a lake. Most of the most sand mining operations create lakes. So, and from a hydrogeology standpoint, that creates more water storage. And if they're done properly as they're being mined, they're quiet dredges, electric dredges. It's not an obnoxious operation, and it creates good wildlife, fish potential, things like that. It has a lot of natural attributes. So we have come with some ideas. The next slide. Okay. To give you a little background, this is in the green straw. It's regulations related to the green swamp area of critical state concern. This slide shows the area. I was working in the legislature in the 1970s, when this was debated. This was the rollout of environmental law in the state of Florida. We had Chapter 380 planning statutes. We had developments of regional impact. We had the critical areas put together. And as a staff director in the committee, we worked with folks for a number of years to get this green swamp done. This was pushed by the Southwest Florida Water Management District because of the water resource potential of recharging the Florida aquifer system. Well, when you look at the area on this slide, this is a close-up. These are the sand mines. There's 5 in Lake County, 2 in Polk County. And why are they there? Well, resources like this are place-based. They're where they were deposited, and that's where we have to extract them. So that's why it's important that the planning regulations work with the industry to allow things to move forward. Because at the end of the day, we can guarantee lakes, we can guarantee fisheries, we can guarantee wildlife around them, and we can certainly guarantee open space with the lakes, because they are open space. This is a recap of the mine areas by name, and it is an overlay on your planning and zoning map. So I'm free to answer any questions, technical questions. Mr. Rambo will handle the rest of it, and we can participate with your staff as we go forward to help craft some very correct and good language. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? So far? Okay. None yet.
Thank you.
And I think if this last does probably go to the core of what we're trying to get at with this when it talks about the maximum of residential units development per acre. When you do sand mining, it is a consumptive use permit, which is a temporary activity on a permanent piece of land. The way you have your comprehensive plan allocating us towards the definition of development, at the end of the development, if I'm a shopping center developer, you have a shopping center there. Or if I'm building a concrete plant, you have a big concrete plant there. At the end of my mining activity, which is a temporary activity still on agricultural land use, you still have your underlying development units per acre based on what you have in your zoning categories. If you look at based on the sand used in District 5, your FDOT district, in 2023, which is the last available number, it was 14.43 million tons of sand. These amounts of raw materials that build all of the road projects you see in your area are the core cost components. If you artificially restrict supply, you are increasing costs. I guess the biggest one here that everybody talks about is State Road 516. These are the Central Florida mega projects, all within District 5. Millions and billions of dollars being used, being accelerated through the legislature for for increasing the work plan through DOT and adding more money out of the fund in order to do that. Obviously, you guys are more familiar than I am on each of the provisions in your Lake County work plan. In addition to these large ones, there's another 20 additional future projects you see. So sand use for development in Lake County. A lot of people talk about the amount of sand we take and that potential environmental impact. We do not dig up wetlands. We do not dig up uplands. The reason why? There's no sand in them. All we want is the sand. We're not here to, one, it's illegal to dig up wetlands. We get our permits through DEP. We have setbacks. We have requirements. We have standards. But looking at the amount of sand available, 1.4 million tons of sand valued at $23 million. So in Lake County alone, we did pull some numbers, tons of sand by category. About half is used for roads, a lot for non-residential buildings, parking lots, bridges, sewer, and water infrastructure is also a fairly large component for this. So what does the statute have in Chapter 337? As Mr. Hempel said, this has been in the law for quite a while, where the legislative intent is that there's a strategic and critical need for these materials. Unique to Lake County, in my experience of over 20 years representing the industry, is this artificial cap in the green swamp that only allows for 10% development. By determining, while there's multiple ways to do it, we talk about open space or development. By saying sand mining's development, then you're required in the green swamp at 90% to have open space, in the other areas of the county to have 70% of open space. Ultimately, sand mining is not the ultimate land use. The underlying land use of your number of either residential units or commercial activity at the end of my consumptive use permit for a sand mine is still zoned agriculture. Or zoned at whatever it was prior to us mining that property. Also in Chapter 337 of the Florida statute, it does discuss that the local government has some parameters on limiting or denying proposed land use zoning changes for this consumptive use permit. What I saw a few years ago and what kind of started this discussion with members of your delegation, legislative delegation, was a sand mine where I think you had a couple hundred people here in the same colored T-shirts that were opposed to it because it was coming behind their neighborhood. What will occur in Lake County is us having to artificially go start looking for other deposits throughout the region in order to try to find places. What our intent is to continue mining at the lands we have or lands adjacent to the lands we have, because your residents are used to the South County. They're used to the 7 mines you saw in the picture, the 5 in Lake and the 2 in Polk. But what's important to know is the reason I say it's an artificial limit is because there are numerous other levels of regulatory authority over mining, adjacent to wildlife impacts, air quality, surface through DEP, sound levels, draining. Obviously, we work a lot with DOT on the transportation system plan, and the reclamation plan is done through DEP. We do have the average disturbance on the mines on County Road 474 is about 30%. So if the artificial limit of 10% is in there, we're leaving 2/3 of the available resource to be stranded there for eternity, according to the current interpretation of your comprehensive plan. The 70% land, as we discussed, those are the wetlands and the uplands. They don't have sand. We're not interested in them. At the end of the day, they're going to have that underlying land use of whatever it was before my consumptive use permit. And then reclaimed mines are, we believe, conducive to open space. This is a Lake County reclamation project. While under your ordinance, this is not open space. It looks like open space to us. This is Polk County. Looks like a lot more open space to us. There is no development that has occurred on this property at the end of a reclaimed mine. So we believe it is somewhat inadvertent. It does leave standard reserves. I think the state has seen that. If you limit supply, as Commissioner Smith discussed, he's wanting to put more and more money to roads. The more money you have to ship in from Mexico, other counties, 3 counties over, you can double and triple the cost of sand and base materials easily on a road project. You have the ability to build these road projects in your county at a much cheaper price because of the availability of the resource. When you start shipping it in by barge, shipping it in by truck, that's one of the most expensive costs of transporting these materials. So Lake County is unique in that perspective. to finalize this. I think more pretty pictures of, this one's actually really interesting. The open field was dirt. A lot of the sand was not able to be used. It did not meet DOT quality. So that sand there, that sand base, that big basin there that's open, that's uplands, was built out of sand that was dredged, that was not compatible with DOT standards. So what is our request? Why are we even here? We just like to get a feel of the commission, where everybody's at, understand that we believe this is a unique opportunity based on your current interpretation of your comprehensive plan, and ask that you have staff work with us to come up with something that works with keeping the mines where they're currently located in Lake County. If you look around at where the pressures are going to be in 10 years, and the companies that own the mines that were on the map have 50-year planning horizons, they're going to have to start looking around, and you're seeing the issue associated with trying to find sand deposits. Right now, we have the ability for 2/3 of the sand deposits that are in there to continue to be used at the exact same level. You know, we're happy to work with traffic studies and making sure that we're not overloading any of the infrastructure of this county. But what's more important is having those mines continue to be able to operate and not leaving the stranded resource of the state. And you see what occurs, and we're happy to take you on any of the tours of the reclaimed mines or a current operating mine if you have issues relating to the noise or the setbacks. All of those issues are currently in your ordinances and your comprehensive plan to be dealt with through the consumptive use permit. So really the only limit is, can you strand these resources by having an artificial cap of 10% in the green swamp and 30% outside the green swamp within Lake County, and leave those resources there, and the limit of supply absolutely increases the cost. And so that's what we're asking for, is a partnership with the county in order to come up with a solution. Whether you do it through open space, whether you do it through the definition of development, Polk County does not have, which you have that cute little county line down there. On the other side of the county line, 1 mile away from the mines that are on this side of the line, they get all of the sand deposits out of the property that they're mining. On this side of the county line, you're limited to 10%. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any questions? Commissioner?
I don't have any questions, but I think it's a fair request to have them contact with our staff to come up with a idea or a solution so we can go over it and find detail to make sure we agree with it. Right now, everything's up in the air until we get a pinpoint of what the staff and the mining industry would like to see. And then once we have that information, we can manage by facts and then move forward from there.
This is only on the Green Swamp area?
We have started with the green swamp on it. You know, if you're at 30% and you're outside the green swamp and you have 35% of your property has sand deposits, I don't see to me, it does not make a difference where it's at, because your environmental impacts are the same as well. We would love to work with SAP to figure out what you guys would be comfortable with. Most of the mines are in the green swamp. Some are north of the green swamp. They're all on existing permitted properties. So the idea that they would stay there and not go looking elsewhere for more deposits is I would say, the carrot. And extending the life of those mines is beneficial to Lake County and the region, District 5, on future construction projects based on cost. And so that would be something, again, we've had individual conversations with staff. Ms. Dial's been wonderful, Mr. Fitzgerald have been great on the ideas. But this is kind of a big deal in this area, because it's kind of been this way, and now people are looking at 10 and 20-year lifespans and going, do we start looking to dig somewhere else? And before we do that, we wanted to talk to the commission and see what they thought about the concept that's out there.
If I'm not mistaken, when the mining industry originally purchased this property, they had different rules they were going by, and then as they were mining, the rules changed on them. It'd be like having a grocery store and operating as a grocery store, and then all of a sudden the rules changed and said, well, you can't do that grocery store anymore.
Well, I think it's similar. I mean, if I owned the mine at my age, Unless you're Commissioner Sabatini's age, he may think 30 years out. I'm thinking more 8, 10. So when the comprehensive plan changed and sand mining was including in the definition of development, the people that had their existing mines that knew they had 10 or 12 years left they didn't go crazy. They thought, okay, well, I got 10 or 12 years left. And now with the acceleration of the DOT work plan and that 12 years has turned to 8 years, now everybody's starting to twitch. So they want to start looking at other properties and and the idea of leaving that capacity there of DOT approved grade sand really is a travesty when you look at the cost of bringing it in from other countries.
Well, we don't really know what's going to happen until you do talk to staff and come up with a plausible plan. So that's why.
Well, the other thing is we're working on the 2050 comp plan, so why wouldn't Kimberly Horn be involved in the discussions with staff and them to incorporate it in our 2050 plan?
Yeah, that was exactly my comment. So I think you, good question. I think you said a couple important things that were presented today, and that's about on the supply side. Look, we're trying to build roads cheaper. We know that supply, I mean, it'll affect everybody's life. I mean, whether we're trying to build roads or you're trying to build something out there in the public, totally get the economic side of it. Green swamp is a balance, as you and I have talked about this. I mean, it's actually not entirely a swamp. It's a matrix of some pretty pristine, unique uplands to Florida. And, my concern has been you mine those uplands, and there are uplands there that, could be mined. It's just mapping the areas that have some sensitivity to it, very unique species, what makes Lake County special. So you use the word partnership. I'm all about a partnership. I understand trying to get sustained from a business side. You understand where you're going to be going for the next 25 years, but our residents also need to know over the next 25 years or whatever. I'm just throwing that number out, that these protections are in place as well. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I think you could get that. You could do that through the comp plan process. As I understand, like Vulcan. Had a good discussion with them, is interested in working with staff on the same thing. So, I mean, if it's moving through the comp plan process, which is already under place, we want to get the comp plan done too. So it's not something we're going to put out there for a long term, but I think that's the route to do it, if you will.
Can I respond? And I agree. If after watching today's meeting and a few years online in the past, I didn't think there was going to be, you're going to have a heck of a show on your full comp plan amendment, and ours literally could be done with changing 2 words. And we're more looking for 20 years down the road. You're looking at, annexations around different cities that are amazing in my experience, seeing some of the size of those in comparison to what they have. I think you're going to have a lot more development pressures and challenges in your entire comp plan review. And I've been through them that have taken 4 to 5 years. So the reason we were wanting to do it with staff is I think ours could be fixed with the definition of development, not including sand mine like Polk County does, or the open space determination made because it's a temporary land use. That's done at the end of the reclamation of the mine. When you have 100% of uplands and wetlands and a big lake, you can determine the whole thing. Either one of those are 1 to 2 line little changes to your comp plan versus when I went through the Manatee County comp plan in Sarasota 2050, down in Sarasota County, it was a 4-year process. So I know there's an ambitious schedule to get it done. Our planning process, we don't want to start looking at new mines when we're sitting on good resource that's available and that could be used for the accelerated DOT work plan, because the delay, it's more just digging it up and transporting it to wherever the current work site is. So the demand is there. When you start to restrict supply, demand, prices go up. We all went through it in our first year of business school. So that's why we feel the urgency a little more than you guys might. But I think if you look at the common sense view of a reclaimed mine, it is 100% your definition of open space. So.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we're in questions. I don't have any questions, but in terms of discussion, I think it's fine the way it is. I definitely don't think we need to be doing more sand mining in the Green Swamp. I definitely don't think that we need to drop everything and direct staff to go and put out some potential amendments on this. I think the lobbying effort and the presentation is fine. I think the conversation should continue for a while, but getting staff to come and start pushing an amendment, I think is a bad idea. Also, I would say, let's wait till our whole 5-person board is here before we give direction. Because sometimes you just have an idea, you give it to staff, but what does staff want? They want direction. That's what they really want. They want specific direction and a consensus. It helps them be better at their job. I'm fine with the conversation, the presentation, but I'm not in favor of moving anything forward at this point.
Okay, we do have one card, and I don't think there's anybody online yet, but Tom Herbert? You spoke, okay, of course, gosh. Yeah, you got it. You were just following the rules. All right, wanted to make sure we got that. All
I
right.
was told I didn't have to fill out a form, so I'm not.
No, your name's already on there. You're good. You're good, Dave. Okay, all right, so is there any discussion on this any further? I think the process, like you said, needs to play out. Commissioner Campion's not here as well through the comp plan. I do think you bring up really good points. Balance is the key here because and I think we're on the same page with that. And
So other than the dirt being cheaper to get it there, what other incentive, other than the employees, is in it for Lake County?
Can you sell us material at the lowest cost possible?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of usage on the roads, trucks up and down. There's got to be some incentive for Lake County to open it back up.
Well, I think there's two, Mr. Chairman, and Commissioner Morris. One is you're leaving sand mining where it's at, and I think the residents of Lake County know where it's at. During a consumptive use permit, we have, through staff and through this commission, through the approval of permits, gone through, and we have built roads, we have repaved roads, we have, every time you do a new permit process, which would be a mine or an adjacent mine, with land that you have adjacent to the current mine, where you just keep mining during a sand deposit, we get extracted again. So all of that is all part of your current process that you have, your permitting process, your consumptive use permit process. That all exists today. But to move all our equipment to the next piece of property and only mine a third of what's available there seems like a waste, and it will increase costs. So for us, it's I think you get those benefits, the impacts. We are willing to, I think that the idea of what we're asking for, if there needed to be some protections to the county, we're not out here just to dig it up quicker. We want to not have to move everything again. We're extending the life of the mine. So if we do 100 trucks a day, the entire industry, we don't exceed 100 trucks a day. If that was a limit that you would come up with, that would be something that we would be agreeable to. For us, it is the extension of the current locations of where mining is at. Because as you guys, for some of you that were on the commission 2.5 years ago, it was a mess. And it ended up being, I don't know, a 3-2 vote or something, and somebody sold a lot of T-shirts that were all the same color. But it is upsetting because people don't understand that we're not in the rock aggregate. We're not blasting. You're not getting the noise that you get in the Miami-Dade Lake Belt where they're blasting for rock, for aggregate. This is fine aggregate, which all of us call sand, but it is determined by the state to be fine aggregate, and there's standards and things for it. And Lake County and Polk County are the biggest deposits in the state for it. I think you get the advantage of recharging the aquifer. I think you get the advantage of open space and wildlife corridors. If I have last session worked for the Florida Wildlife Federation, and there is a big gap in that area of privately owned land, not including the wildlife corridor. So there's a lot of benefits to keeping that land the way it is. And allowing it to be mined, and then when it's reclaimed, you see what you get. And we'd be happy to take any commissioner out there if they'd like to see it. But it's not fake. It's real what it ends up with, because we're not there to mine anything other than the sand out of it. And you end up with a huge water recharge area, which is useful for both this community and all of Central Florida. But the pricing is, from our perspective and being in the Concrete and Products Association business, is the part that we're worried about. We not only produce the sand and extract it, we also build block, we also build roads, we build bridges. And so the more it costs us for the raw materials and supplies, the more it costs, whether it's FDOT or Lake County or local government, to build these products. So it is mutually beneficial to the state. It is a strategic resource. And I think that's where we see the benefits to the region, is based on that, not having inflated prices on everything you do just based on an artificial cap on supply.
I'm just saying, I think this is a conversation we can have without giving an immediate directive to staff to come back with the amendment. I'm totally fine with it. I know Dave, he's a straight shooter, good lobbyist, worked with him in Tallahassee. Happy to keep this conversation going, but I don't think it needs to be formalized yet.
Yeah, I think maybe what should happen is you work with the mining industry and come up with a good plan of what you're looking at. Some saving these sensitive areas, I mean, it may be 50% or 60% of that area as a whole, but come up with a good plan that we can all look at and then move forward from that direction.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate you coming today. And yeah, it's important discussion, so appreciate that. Are you clear on the staff? Okay, good. Very good. All right, so we'll move to tab 18 now. I know this is underneath after reports, but we'll do tab 18 before reports. And tab 18, I believe, is you, Commissioner Sabatini. This would be for...
P&Z, our great P&Z member, Don Bailey, is retired. He's much older. He did a great job. Actually, just real quick as a segue, do we do plaques for P&Z members? I think we should do like a little plaque, since it's a pretty serious board. We come up with just nothing too crazy, just, something that's...
We've done certificates of appreciation in the past, and then we'll have them come and present that.
Perfect. Yeah, and then even if it's just a, normal frame or wood, or, I guess the paper's fine too, but we should do that for...
You get a frame for it, yeah, I think he'd appreciate that.
Yeah, especially boards like P&Z where you're talking, sometimes these meetings are a half-day meeting.
Can I get one of those too?
Yeah, retroactive.
I didn't get one.
You want a plaque?
I do think it's important. I think
got
we should
one
make
for
that
you.
a tradition.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Because you're talking, it's a half, some of these meetings are like half a day and then we'll get paid. Anyway, so Don's stepping off, and Commissioner Fike, who I think has done a great job in public service in Lake County, is my nominee for my district, so. Council member. Yeah, he corrected me on council. People always ask me, what's the difference?
You wouldn't believe what I've been called.
Yeah.
So I would move to approve of representing my district. Thank you.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That passes unanimously. Congratulations, condolences, what have you. Appreciate your service, though. That is a commitment.
Thanks.
Thanks, Judy. All right, if I am not skipping anything, don't think I am. We're now on to reports, right? Okay, so county attorney. County manager?
No reports.
Commissioner Sabatini?
No updates.
No updates, okay. Commissioner Smith, and I know we'll come back to you, don't forget about your special day, but Commissioner Smith?
So the only thing I have is Discover Lake was recognized. Oh, you're going to do that one?
No.
Oh, Discover Lake was recognized as being a prime supporter for UCF Rowing Club. UCF girls team won nationals, which is an absolute fantastic. So all I can say is go Knights.
Charge on.
Charge on. The only thing I want to circle back to the noise ordinance, and I did not ask this question at the time, but these are going to be marked areas with signage.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all I have. No report.
That's all you have?
That's it.
Okay. All right, I just have a couple things. Commissioner Sabatini and I were at FAC, Florida Association of Counties, last week or week before. Great event, got a lot of policies pushed forward. Obviously, the big concern is about preemption, of course, and what happens with property taxes coming into this year of 2026. I thought it was a great meeting. They're really out there. FAC, Florida Association of Counties, is really out there watching out for us, obviously. I encourage all of you, when I get something, or Commissioner Sabatini gets something from FAC, usually it's just very factual, general information that we just need to be aware of, so I encourage you to take advantage of that and just track it. They're obviously going to lobby for us on our behalf. So they put on a great policy meeting. A little bit of good news that I have also is we did receive, I guess it's sort of an award, so here's your plaque for today. Commissioner Morris. Florida Association of Counties does a calendar every year that goes to all 67 counties, and those commissioners distribute the calendars out to their constituents, cities, whoever wants one, essentially. And very rarely has Lake County made that calendar. Obviously, 67 counties, only 12 months, right? 13 total pictures. Well, we were actually selected this year for a picture, so we got a little award. I got to go up for it. So here's your plaque for today, Commissioner Morris. This was the picture that was selected for the calendar, Florida Association of Counties. It's a sunflower. I believe that is grown, obviously locally at one of our UPIC. So
Is that AI?
it's not AI. It was actually, it's a real picture. No AI, yes. This is real. So this is something we will put up upstairs near the offices, but congratulations. And
It is cool.
yeah, we got some calendars for everybody as well.
Instead of putting it upstairs, can we put it in the rotunda for a little bit so that people
Yeah,
can see it?
I think that's an even better idea.
Yeah, it's cool.
We'll put it out there. I think that's a great idea. Other than that, just looking forward to all the Christmas celebrations coming up, all the parades and everything in the next couple of weeks. So enjoy it. Thank you, cities, for putting those on for us. So that's all that I have. Thanks for being patient today with me. I know Commissioner Smith has his final comment of the day.
I do, and I forgot to say, I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I do not have a national day today. What? But I do have a world day.
Okay.
Okay.
So today is World Trick Shot Day, and it was actually brought on by the Harlem Globetrotters in 1971. So if you know any trick shots today,
Take it.
take it.
Take your trick shot. Good to know.
That's all I have.
All right, well, it's a great day in Lake County, but we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Good job. Yeah, definitely.
That's a good idea. We'll put this up. You want me to get